Hey, what's up? So it's been a long time since I just talked to my camera on this silly little vlog channel, and I thought I'd talk about something that I've been kind of thinking about. I wouldn't say like super recently, not like like oh I just thought of this, but something that's kind of been moving or I guess like going moving around in my head a little bit for little thoughts that have been floating around in the brain space for the past couple months or so, I would say. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I think if you've been following this backup channel for the few people who do sort of follow this secondary account, you'd kind of know that there was a period where I kind of went through a creative slump where I talked about how my compulsion to make videos kind of weakened and how I don't want to do it anymore. I don't feel as compelled to do it anymore. And I think like sort of these thoughts I've been having over the past few months kind of brought upon sort of a frame shift in the way I view my creative hobbies that I think kind of got me out of that slump. And I'm gonna try, I guess, as best as I can to explain what that frame shift sort of is and the rationality behind it. Because maybe if someone else was going through a similar sort of thing, maybe it'll help them. And I want to clarify, like, obviously, this isn't the only way to approach these kind of subjects or the nature of art or creativity or whatever. And I'm aware that I'm obviously I'm just one of many people, and just because this works for me doesn't mean it will work for other people. Um, so hey, but if it ends up doing something for you, cool. If not, then I guess you get to hear the perspective of someone you disagree with, and maybe you can chime in with your own thoughts and let me know if I'm being unreasonable. And I think that major frame shift basically is, and I think there's a lot of ankles to it, and it's gonna sound really stupid and convoluted and pretentious when I word it out. But I'm gonna try to. I guess I'll start here. I guess I'll just start here. Sort of the essence of this frame shift, or sort of this. I guess the mantra of it is that I kind of came to the conclusion that I'm no longer going to ever tell myself that I'm good at any of the things that I do. I'm no longer going to tell myself, like, you're good at voice acting or playing the piano or any of my creative hobbies, whatever it is, or writing or any of that shit. I never want to tell myself I'm good at those things. I don't want to do that anymore. And I know it sounds a little weird, but the reason I don't want to do this anymore is because I kind of realized that by telling myself I'm good at this thing, I'm afraid that that's going to stifle growth solely for the purpose of making me feel a little better at myself. And I would be doing that entirely to just maybe I'd feel a little bit better, as about my competence and stuff, but let me put it this way. If I were to approach, like, I don't do the creative hobbies or indulge in the creative hobbies anymore to demonstrate that I'm good at something or to prove that I'm good at something, either to myself or to other people. I don't want to do it for that purpose anymore. Because I feel like if I'm just doing work to prove, like, oh, look, I'm good at this, then I'm basically attaching, then my sole motivation for doing any kind of creative work, any kind of creative project, is just to sort of validate this sense of competence, just to validate this idea that I'm good at this thing. And I feel like what doing that does is it like attaches my sense of me being good at this thing becomes like a part of who I am. Like it becomes an issue of like my identity, because like I do this because I'm good at this thing. So it's like a part of myself. So I feel like if that's my mentality going forward, if that's my sole motivation for doing things, then what's going to happen when criticism gets thrown my way? Or what happens when I'm self-critical of my own work, which I'm always bound to be because of my perfectionistic tendencies. I always have to force myself to stop working on something or to stop improving upon something because I could be such a perfectionistic, son of a bitch. But if part of my sense of self is that I'm good at these things, then if I see criticism, I feel like I would see that as a threat, in a way, right? Because like if like I see someone says, like, because how can I say to myself like, oh, I'm good at this thing, But then somebody says like, well, this sucked, or that wasn't funny, or this didn't work, or even if other people aren't saying that, I'm saying that, I'm making that observations about my own stuff, right? They're going, you know, like, and then I would see that not just as a criticism of the work itself, but as a criticism of myself. And I feel like I don't want my sense of self to be attached to my competence at what I do. And I'm afraid that moving forward with that mentality or doing art for that purpose would just stifle or slow down my improvement. Because while I'll probably never admit to myself that I'm good at any of the things that I do, I do definitely acknowledge, and I think it's irrefutable, that I have gotten better, without question. You know, if you go to my first video and you compare it to my most recent video, I think there's like a clear, I mean, I think it's obvious, like, yeah, I've definitely gotten better in a lot of different areas in terms of voice acting and editing and delivery, pacing, all this kind of stuff, writing, just, you know, across the board. And I've even seen this kind of improvement with hobbies that I don't share online. Like, you don't see a lot of the stuff I do with my fucking keyboard back there. You know, I did do that cover recently, but, you know, like, I've been playing the piano since I was a fucking, you know, since I was what, like 8 years old or something. So I mean, like, I've been doing that for a long time. And I've been using it more than just for that one cover. So there's hobbies I indulge in outside of just YouTube or stuff you guys see on YouTube. But, where was I going with this? But yeah, while I'll never admit that I'm good at the things I do, I can admit that I've improved. And I've decided to adopt this new mentality because I want to see that trend continue. I want to continue to see myself improve. And I feel it's only through excessive self-criticism and being able to accept the criticisms of other people that I'm able to grow in my artistic endeavors. And I don't want to do anything to slow that process. And I want to make something clear. Like, that doesn't mean I don't appreciate compliments and the stuff I get. Like, that doesn't mean, because, don't get me wrong, I fucking love compliments. Who the fuck doesn't? But the way I sort of see compliments these days on stuff I do, like if somebody tells me, oh, like, I liked this, or you're good, you did a good job here, or this scene was good, or you're, you know, like, you're good. Even when someone just straight up says, like, I'm good at something, to me, like, because of something I did, to me, that indicates, like, the way I interpret that is not like, oh, this person said I'm good at this, therefore I'm good at this. I interpret that more as like, this person said I'm good at this, therefore, like, I did a good job, right? I set out with a goal of trying to, like, influence people in a certain way, or, you know, or get a certain emotion out of people, or whatever I was trying to accomplish, depending on whatever the purpose of the project is. I set out to do something, and I clearly accomplished it, at least with this person. So I do appreciate compliments, and then they are very nice, so, you know. But, and I know it just sounds like a small semantic difference, you know, it's like, oh, I don't think I'm good at, it doesn't mean I'm good at this, it just means I did a good job. But, like, I don't know, I feel like that change in meaning makes all the world of difference. And you might disagree with me, but honestly, adopting this mentality really helped me get through my most recent video, and it helped me sort of get out of that creative slump I was in for a while. And I thought I'd just put this thought out there and maybe see how other people react to it. Maybe other people disagree, because honestly, I'd like to hear other people's points of view on their own creative hobbies. But yeah, I decided to stop attaching, you know, I just don't want my sense of self to be tied into my competence at the things I do. I want to be motivated to do the creative hobbies I do, not because I'm good at them, but because they fascinate me and I find them interesting, and because I want to improve and get better at them. Not just to prove to the world that I am good at these things, or to prove to myself that I'm good at these things. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Nice to talk with you guys, and, you know, let me know what you think in the comments below, and take care.